More than 2,000 years ago, Socrates said, "It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." He didn't have much to say about your wife rescuing you when you fail on a weak bench press. Now, before I offend anybody who has got a bench press less than mine that they are perfectly happy with, when I say mine is weak, I just mean it seems weak for somebody 6'6", close to 220 pounds, first picked up a weight when I was 12 years old, so I've trained for more than 35 years now. I just feel like it should be more than it is. For example, my deadlift PB, 440 pounds, 200 kilograms, twice body weight. In the world of lifting weights, that is by no means a large deadlift, but in my small local gym, it's unusual to see anybody lifting that. Certainly not much more than that. But when it comes to bench press, I will occasionally find myself working out alongside somebody benching much more than me. So I figure that my bench press lags behind my other lifts relatively. And for years and years, I haven't cared. A good bench press just never really motivated me. Maybe because what do you bench is the sort of question that somebody who does curls in a squat rack would ask.
Just doing my workout. Tuesday's arms and back.
It's never interested me the way that seeing someone do a really heavy squat or deadlift did. That always just seemed much more impressive and representative of overall strength. I had a moment in the late 90s where I thought, man, even Robin Williams benches more than me.
285. What do you bench?
But aside from that, bench pressing has passed me by. I can comfortably do 60 kilos, 130 pound for sets of 10, and that always just felt good enough to kick off a chest session. But the other day, I had a YouTuber pop up in my suggested videos, and I got hooked watching his stuff. I'm going to stick a link to him in the description. Basically, 99% of his videos are the same thing. Some home movie clips of him with his family, then him bench pressing, and then him fishing. Trust me, it is worth it, just check it out. In a world of fitness influencers with glossy presentation and a shortage of upper body clothing, this guy with his GoPro pointed at the bench while he just works out is about as refreshing as it gets. And he is staggeringly strong. He weighs around 150, but he's routinely benching over 350. In fact, he's got some videos on there where he is benching over 400 pounds with zero ego. He's not jumping up and high-fiving everyone within distance. He's just there dressing like he's about to go fishing, which he probably is, churning out crazy numbers. And it made me think, that is very cool. I wonder what I could bench. I don't even remember ever trying to lift more than maybe 80 or 90 kilos. And I apologise, I'm jumping between kilos and pounds. In the UK gyms, I'm clearly lifting in kilos, but everything I'm watching online is Americans lifting in pounds. I will stick up the conversions. So I went to the gym to find out, do a bit of a warm up, and I do 60 kilos, no problem whatsoever. I then try 80. 80 goes up very easily. I then get to 90. 90 is a bit more of a struggle, but it goes up, as does 95, just. Having done 95, I then try the 100 kilos, and we know how that ends. And that was a pity because 100 looks nice. Look at it, two big old plates on either end. It looks like there is some weight on the bar. It'd be great to be able to work out with that. For example, I've backed off on doing heavy deadlifts now, but having done 200 kilos this year, I know I can do 140, 3 plates and churn out reps with that, and that's still a substantial looking weight, especially for someone whose main hobby is endurance running. And if I'm feeling good, 4 plates is doable. Before I focused on getting my deadlift up, I struggled at just under 3 plates for years. So what I want to do is to get my bench press to 2 plates, 100 kilos, the same as my deadlift is for 3 plates, 140 kilos. A weight I can do comfortably, multiple reps, multiple sets. I'm not going to rip or tear something or need a spotter. It's just a working weight I can go to the gym and use. So I did what anybody would do. I asked my kid. Here's a friend, James, who is 17, but has put some time and effort into lifting heavy. This guy has a 245 kilo deadlift, a 120 kilo bench and a 185 kilo squat. It's way over 1,000 pounds. And he's basically still a child. So he's doing something right. Although he's also only human, he did let me use this video. He said I could use it. It's very sporting of him because he's basically failing on the last rep of a heavy set of bench presses and getting the bar stuck on his belt and then making a complete mess of offloading the plates. Kids. Anyway, he has taken all the knowledge that he has accrued over the very few years he's been alive and written me a program on paper with a pen. He didn't email it, he didn't Snapchat it or whatever they do nowadays. He wrote it down, Socrates style. Not Socrates, Socrates didn't write anything down. Plato style, doesn't matter. Either way, Old school, love it. Is it any good? No idea. We'll see in a few months. It's 3 days a week of chest work. Just got back from session 2 today of week 1. And this video is really just to establish that starting point and that failed 100 kilos. So I have something to compare against early in the new year. My goal is to be able to use 100 kilos for reps. A single 120 would be amazing. 130, more than Robin Williams. That would be a dream come true. So while you watch me struggle through today's session, let me just wrap up by covering some of the things that I thought were worth going over. First of all, I know a lot of the regular viewers here are runners and cyclists and will probably be thinking the obvious, which is you're going to make yourself slower when running and cycling. I get upper body strength, especially upper body size and weight, is of no value. I know, and I don't care. I'm currently training for a 50k ultra in early December, and if I run that a little bit slower than I'd like, but I'm able to bench press a little bit more than I used to, I will be happy. Next, already, a few people have said, don't get injured. Bench press is notorious for being done badly and dangerously, but don't panic on my behalf. I am consuming bench press technique videos one after the other. I get my technique in this video is suboptimal, I'm fixing it. I actually have a bad shoulder already, so I get the importance. In fact, this is one of the reasons why I've never worried too much about chasing heavy upper body lifts, bench press, shoulder press, stuff like that. Basically, I fell off my motorbike a long time ago, mangled up my rotator cuff, and as a result, my right side is smaller and weaker than my left. Literally everything, traps, delts, biceps, triceps, chest, all smaller. In fact, the reason I got a tattoo on my right arm was to give me something to look at in the mirror and not focus on it just being a skinny arm compared to the other. If you're thinking, I can't tell, good. But people that know what they're doing can. Annoyingly, I went for a leg massage last year with a sports physio. As I walked in her office, she looked at me and said straight away, what do you do to your shoulder? Your right side is too small. She saw right through the old tattoo distraction trick. And it can hurt when I push it hard. If you're now thinking, why don't you go see a doctor? I did, and guess what he told me? He said, girl, you better try to have fun no matter what you do. No, he didn't say that. He said, option 1, we can operate and tidy it up, and it might feel better. Or option 2, we leave it, and it won't get any worse. It'll just hurt sometimes. I said, if I do things that make it hurt, will it get worse then? He said, no, probably not. Having had multiple knee surgeries that run at about 50-50 success rate for pain relief, I thought, leave it alone. And interestingly, since I got my deadlift and my squat strength up and started running long distance, I've had zero knee pain. Maybe a stronger shoulder, trained properly, will help. What else? Everyone will have a different perception of what a good bench press is. I'm sure some people will think that my existing strength is good. Others will think, as I said at the start, that it's not great relative to my size. But it's worth pointing out that my size actually works against me. 6'6" with long arms means my levers are at the opposite end of the scale to where you would want to be for heavy bench pressing, which is short little raptor arms. And on top of that, my range of motion is clearly huge compared with someone with short arms. I'm literally moving the weight further away from my body every rep. If you're thinking, hang on, some of the world's strongest men are your size or bigger, they are. And if you take performance enhancing drugs, you're able to use a giant frame to fit on a volume of muscle way beyond what a smaller person would literally have room for. Thus, you can become gigantically strong. But it's not a sensible comparison to make with yourself, whatever your height, unless you're also training in the same way. And lastly, this is not me moving away from the endurance stuff that I do. That is always going to come first. The training for that doesn't stop. The older I get, the more I've come to value the fitness, the general fitness that comes from those activities ahead of everything else. Just the other day, I was doing a recovery run after the Reading half marathon that I did, which I did about 45 minutes faster than I last ran it 24 years ago. And just that ability to jog along, knowing I could just keep doing this for hours is brilliant. I love it. The same with cycling, and here on Zwift, I get that competitive element that I want. I know I said that I would compromise my 50k performance in December for a slightly better bench press, but if someone said ultimately run or lift, you can only do one, I'd run. And also, I find the endurance stuff as a bigger person more interesting to put out in this format. There's plenty of YouTubers out there that never set foot outside the gym. No one needs another one of those. But people coming into running and cycling, especially if they don't feel that they are physically suited to it, maybe they're just too big, too heavy they think. Hopefully they see me, and trust me, I'm not physically suited to running stuff like ultramarathons either, and they find that beneficial, to know that it can be done by anybody. Maybe not done to an elite level or a great level, but it can be done above average with a bit of effort by anyone. And elephant in the room, let's wrap up with TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. I've covered in the past why I'm on TRT, and it wasn't for sports performance reasons, I can assure you. But even on the therapeutic dose that my doctor prescribes me, I am well aware there are physical benefits that I obtain in addition to the primarily mental health improvements that caused me to seek treatment in the first place. Now, to a certain extent, some people will think, well, good, surely what's the problem? That's a good thing. You get your head in the right place and you also have the positive side effects physically as well. That is true. And you only have to go onto a TRT Facebook group or something to see as many people there talking about and discussing their improved mental health well-being as there are people talking about the gym performance they benefited from. It is undoubtedly part and parcel of the benefits to getting your hormone levels corrected. But what I've been very mindful of, for me personally, is making sure that somebody watching me here doesn't see my TRT use as a reason to think, well, of course he can do that because of the drugs. I can't. I'd just eat some more pizza instead of going for a park run. Basically, I don't want to be to that person what the world's strongest man is to me, completely irrelevant. And one of the ways I try and do that is by picking to do things that testosterone doesn't lend itself to in the way that it does with some other activities. Yes, TRT use will have a positive impact on most physical things, but the list of negatives that I bring to the table far outweighs it for some of the things I do. For example, when I do my 50k ultra in December, if somebody wanting to start jogging sees me do that and thinks, well, of course he can do that because of drugs, I'd be surprised. I'd hope they're more likely to see someone who used to be a beast most of their life, only started running a few years ago, is completely the wrong shape and size to be ultra running, and enjoys donuts, and thinks, do you know what, maybe I can do that 10k fun run after all. So I try to make sure that my TRT use is no more an excuse somebody else can use to not try and better themselves than the fact that I also need to use an asthma inhaler or wear contact lenses, both of which enhance me beyond where nature got me. In fact, Mother Nature would have killed me with asthma before I turned 10. It's why next year I want to try some long distance cycle rides. I don't want to do what some people have suggested I try, which is track cycling. It does look fun, I do enjoy sprinting on the bike, but rightly or wrongly, it just feels like something where people could throw around the TRT thing a bit more easily than if I jump on a bike and pedal a few hundred miles in a way better suited to someone half my weight. And again, I get it, it will still help me. It's just not overcoming obvious deficiencies. Here's the way I see it. If a 60-year-old, 5-foot tall man with a limp wants to play me one-on-one at basketball, he can take whatever he likes. I'm dunking on that little guy all day long. In the same way, I hope the people that I run and cycle with who don't have my natural physical disadvantages don't see me as an issue because I correct one aspect with medical help that still leaves me unsuited to their world in general. As shown in that recent half marathon, where I was crushed by hundreds and hundreds of very normal sized people who didn't need to lug all this around the course. But with the bench press thing, I'm a bit stuck. Despite everything I've said about my manky old shoulder and my arms that are just too long, it's lifting weights. TRT is not what steroid taking bodybuilders and strong men are doing, but to some people, I get it, drugs is drugs. I could stop taking TRT, might cheer them up, but then I'd struggle to get out of bed, let alone get to the gym, and I certainly wouldn't be in a place where I could put up a couple of videos a week for you guys to watch. So it is what it is. If you enjoy watching this, if you like movie clips and the odd one-liner, then you just have to take me as I am, I'm afraid. Bottom line, just bear in mind that if you are also a nearly 48-year-old, 6'6", 220-pound asthmatic vegan with a bad rotator cuff and the testosterone levels of a 90-year-old, I'm going to kick your ass in the gym because my hormone levels are fixed and yours aren't. Okay, I hope you find it interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes. Please like, please subscribe, because optimized hormones can only motivate me so much. You clicking on those buttons is what really drives me to put up more content for you to watch. Talking of which, next one, my super sprint duathlon at Donny Lake this weekend. 2.5k run, 10k bike, 2.5k run, short and fast, brutal. As Socrates said, a man is only truly tested when the only path ahead of him is full beast mode. The guy loved a good duathlon.